Good morning. All right, I'm waiting for my guest. Welcome on. Say hi, where you're from. Nice. Okay. Hey, Joe. All right, Brenda, it said you're on. Add.
We go.
Yay!
Ta-da! Okay. Do we want the ocean? Can we see the ocean, or is that too bright?
It's a little bright. I'd rather see your
All right,
face.
we'll go. We'll go back this. Oh, really? Really?
Yeah.
With the mascara running down to my knees and
Anything you
Okay.
got, girl.
Anything I got.
We don't
Pajamas.
have a good program.
That's really good. Let me let me do
All right, so
this. Let me
welcome
grab
on,
this. Okay.
everyone. Welcome on. I have my guest, Brenda, and she's been a friend of mine for quite a while. Um, so we're going to talk about why God created a naked mole rat. That's my title.
Okay.
But
Let me
really,
get settled. Here we go.
today we're talking about God and having a sense of humor. And I brought Brenda on because this is new for me, to bring on people that have read my book. And quite
hmm
honestly, I don't know who's read my book. I mean, I've bought probably 40 books from friends that are authors, and they will eventually be read, but it's on my bookshelf, and I expect the timing to be perfect for each person. And that's why I finally completed my book, because I felt like, well, this is up to God, not me, who reads it. But I talk to Brenda quite often, and I was chatting with her last time we talked, and she's just like, dude, your book, your book, your book. And I'm like, what? Oh, it actually made a difference. So I wanted to
There.
bring Brenda on because it's always awesome to have other people talk about what you have done and created in their lives, not to beef up my ego, but to really get down to brass tacks of why we should complete something we know we're called to do.
Mhm.
So, hey, Brenda, welcome on.
Hey, Amanda. Me and my book, okay, that goes with me everywhere. If you've not read Amanda's book, well, you are missing out on the joy and hilarity of life, in such a beautiful, oh my gosh, fun way. I mean, I have tears rolling down my face half the time. It's like, okay, if I need to laugh, get the book. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're probably one of the funniest women I think I've ever met. Stand-up comedy should just be part of your forte. Yeah, come to
Yeah,
LA.
I've never, I've talked about this before on lives. It's just, I know it's a skill set of mine, but I don't want to be at bars being heckled by men
hmm
because I know I'll emasculate the crap out of them. And that's
I
not
didn't even think
something
of that.
I mean, I love heckling. I love to be
Sure.
heckled. It's not fearful for me at all. It gets my creative juices going. But for me, it's like I'm so excited to be able to have every format for me to speak. And I know I'm
hmm
called to write, and I know I'm called to bring joy and humor to people. So, um, but that's not necessarily my venue. And people have said that my whole life, right?
Of
If
course. Yeah, of course.
if three people say you're an ass, you're probably an ass.
Mm.
But
Mm.
I've heard comedy, since like
hmm
3 years old or whatever, and I've cultivated it in my boys, and I honestly am so proud of it. I'm so
Yes.
proud.
And you should be reading some of the things that you captured and wrote in here about the boys. I mean, Tyler, that kid's off the hook. It's a gift, and it's a gene. I didn't get that gene. Only once in a blue moon do I all of a sudden like, oh, I was funny. Yeah, I don't have
Yeah.
that gene. Yeah, I don't have the quick gene, but you and you've shared and showed that to your children, and so,
Yeah.
but it's not just something that they've learned. It's the nature, the nurture. I mean, they were born this way because they were born of
Mm-hmm.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny kids. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's insane because they're teens
Yeah.
now, and um, Corbin showed me a senior prank that was done at his high school,
Hmm.
and it was so inappropriate and so funny. Like I laughed so hard, I had tears because it was so well written.
Uh-huh.
And if you want that, send me a message and I'll send it to you. But be ready for so inappropriate. I mean,
Okay.
but if I was a teacher, I mean, you got
Mhm.
to have a sense of humor if you're going to be in
You
the high
do.
school, or else
Yeah,
you're going to
absolutely.
be miserable.
Right. 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 Right.
And that's what I've learned
So,
is with humor, you can bring humor forward with teens and really
hmm
bring them down to like, hey, let's talk deep now. Now that we
hmm
laughed together, what do you got?
right.
What's going on in your life?
Well, that's kind of a foundation of trust because it gives them that good feeling of inside going, okay, I have a safe place here. She's made me laugh. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Right. We can possibly tiptoe into this, and it might not be so uncomfortable. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
humor is the key to life.
I think when
Happy.
they
Yeah.
hear my I crapped my pants stories or that kind of stuff, it like brings them down like, oh, dude, I could tell her anything. And it's
Uh-huh.
true. I mean,
Yeah.
people have literally told me everything of their lives. I am the person that hears your deepest, darkest secrets because it's just like, okay, well, now what? Now what are you going to do? Are you going to let that stunt you forever? Or are you going to grow past it? So, what do
Well,
you want
so
to
I
talk
see.
about?
Well, I see with you with your humor. I mean, of course, I know you've been told 1,000 times, come to Hollywood, go stand, at the Laugh Factory and, on Sunset Strip, right? But your humor, the way I've always known you and seen you, so just so you guys know how I met Amanda was through some learning stuff. And she's probably the only human being who's ever captured me in film. And when I got the pictures from Amanda, I literally just sat and cried. And I was going through something pretty traumatic in my life with my son's father, and he had cancer. And I really needed humor at that time in my life, and I
Yeah.
couldn't find it. And so you were just that person, and that captured me. So, and then the humor just started. I was like, oh, it's okay to be funny as a woman. Right?
Yeah.
Because we're serious, we're moms, we're girlfriends, we're wives, we're sisters, we're mothers, we're daughters. But where do we get to be us? Right? And so watching you reading my book, okay, reading this, I was like, are you in my head? Because I see a lot of not just men, and I do see men this way. I'm really watching for the vulnerability in men so that I can say, ah, there he is. And because
Yeah.
most men are not taught, they're just not taught vulnerability. And they use humor as a deflection, right? And so do boys. And as we both have boys, I've watched my own son, do this. I can't even pick one, thing. There was a diarrhea story in here. I mean, I literally probably had to go to the bathroom right afterwards going, because I can't even hold my pee. I was laughing so hard. So
That's
your
what I aim
humor,
for.
it
That's what I aim
works.
for.
Yeah. So when I listen, so when I read your book, I was like, oh my gosh, okay. Because Amanda, you know my story and you know what I've been through. And I literally posted out on Facebook not recently about, it's time to say goodbye to grief because it almost killed me. And I was ready to just jump right off the cliff.
Right.
And through that, I picked up your book again. I mean, it stays right next to my book. And I'm like, okay, just do this. Oh, okay, scribblings, right?
Yeah.
Um, if you are unfulfilled and you know it, clap your hands. Okay.
I don't
I'm
even
like,
know. I don't even know what I've written. It's so
well,
awesome.
and so I've said to you,
When
I've
people,
told you that, go back and read your book, okay? And you're going to need tissue and just stay in the bathroom because that's where you're going to pee at my age. We're doing that a lot lately. And as my sister left with her Depends, she's like,
oh, she'll be glad you just said that.
of course she will. And so so to come back, when people say to you, go ahead and do the laugh stop, you bring humor and comedy to your everyday life of people that you see. And I don't know if you know the ripple effect that you have on people, because there's just not a lot of funny women out there. And to watch you grow over this last 8 years of knowing you, and I love that we have Facebook. A lot of people are like, "Meh,"
Yeah.
I've cleaned out my Facebook and I have just kept the people in there that I love, that are my
Yeah.
friends. I have some business acquaintances in there, but for the most part, cleaned. I mean, I don't know, 2,000 people. I'm like, I don't know 2,000 people. I don't,
Yeah.
so Facebook for me is a great place because I'm like you. I don't have TV. I don't watch the news. I need happy and joy.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, what's it all about? God wants us to be happy. He wants us to be just in joy. And most people miss that. And you never missed it. You are in joy always. You may not always be happy, but you're always in joy.
That's a
And
good point.
yeah, no,
I might not
absolutely. I
always
mean,
be happy. Yeah.
no, but you're always in joy, and in joy is in the Bible. It is to me the quintessential thing that God wants for us, to be in joy, because from there the possibilities are completely infinitely endless. I mean, all the way out to every corner of the universe you can be in joy.
Yes. So that's a great thing to talk about is I know my talents, you know your
Hmm.
talents.
Hmm.
Mine are, I love exhortation, the gift of exhortation, encouragement, laughter, joy, all that stuff. But you have to know that you have a nemesis, that you have the
Hmm.
complete counterfeit of that gift, which is
Hmm.
tearing down, sarcasm,
Yes.
emasculating men. Like all the negatives are over here. So it's a constant pendulum swing
Hmm.
in your
Hmm.
gifts, and whatever your gifts are, figure them out.
Hmm.
What is so easy for you and so fun? Side note, that is how God is going to talk to you. If
Hmm.
you love journaling, he's going to talk to you through journaling. If
Hmm.
you love music, probably through music. There's just a lot of
Hmm.
different formats. He's not a person that's like, hey, let me think of the hardest way to get a hold of you.
Hmm.
But
I
for
don't know.
me,
I'm a pretty stubborn kid in his, in his flock, and he's like, okay, look at let me just use a metaphor of a baseball bat upside your head. And my daughter-in-law says to me, "No, Mama, it's not a baseball bat upside your head. He's showing you again why you don't need to do that again." And so he's
oh
like,
yeah,
batter, 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 swing. She goes, "You get to use the baseball bat into the universe to just knock that out of your space because."
oh that's
She goes, "But
awesome.
not up against your head." And I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think
Pardon me.
so. I mean, just for me to finish this book, one, it was
Hmm.
probably 15 years of compilation of writing or
Hmm.
whatever. I had all the deep stuff written because I have done a blog for probably 10 years now.
Mm.
But I didn't have the humor pieces written. So the year I was writing it, I had a lot of humor in my life because I had to like really tap into that creative side. And when you have tough stuff going on, I'm
Hmm.
sorry, but creativity goes out the door. So you
Hmm.
really do have to have a mindset of I'm choosing to create fun right now, or I'm going to
Hmm.
choose to go on this family trip and think of some kind of fun thing to do, some challenge, and get my friends involved. So like
Hmm.
that's the stuff I can give as gifts to people of, hey, you want to create memories you'll never forget? My son walked around Williamsburg with a huge piece of toilet paper hanging out of his pants, and we laughed for like 2 hours straight.
Right.
So, and it's like my boys, so I'm still waiting for them to be embarrassed by me. It's so fun
No.
because they aren't, I mean, they aren't. They know
Hmm.
that I will go double time if
Hmm.
they say the words, you're embarrassing me. Oh, really? You think
Hmm.
this is embarrassing?
Hmm.
Let's
But do you
bring
know
it.
to stop with them now? Because you and I've talked about that of where, if they needed a serious moment or something. And no, Mom,
Oh, yeah.
seriously, you're embarrassing. Yeah. Yeah. See,
Oh, yeah,
that's where
yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen you change, and, because you had talked about before, and you talked about it in the book, about how humor was a trigger for you in not pleasant ways. And so to
Mm-hmm.
grow and to be in growth and to learn from life, because it's just one obstacle course after another, and you can either choose to jump it or stay right where you are. And
Yeah.
so for when I was, I mean, I literally went through last night and earmarked, a couple of pages. And I know your sons are in here because they are just hilarious children. Um, so my question, how long did it take you to write the book? How long did you work on this?
Um, well, I was in the same seminar groupings that you were, and so I
Mm-hmm.
was the photographer for a seminar
Mm-hmm.
company, and so I went through goal setting events over and over and
Mm-hmm.
over and over.
Mm-hmm.
When the typical person just goes through once or twice. So I believe I set it um, as a as a goal in that 10-week period
Mm-hmm.
and rocked it out in that 10 weeks among the many orders that I
Oh,
needed to make happen.
sure.
So I had extreme accountability to finish it up by this certain
Mm-hmm.
time. And I think it was to get it off, like completely written. And then I took some more time to like have it sent to a couple people to check out and look it
Mm-hmm.
over.
Right.
But one thing I want to say about my book is, so I have a lot of analysts in my life, a lot. Like I attract them like magnets.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean
That's
by
for another
that,
book. No.
what I mean by that is there's people in my life that are very close to me that don't necessarily find my humor funny at all. And that's okay. When I got to the point, my mom's an analyst and she, what do you call it when they look over your book? Edit.
Oh,
She,
edit. Yeah,
I
editor.
had her do a spiritual edit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that she is by the book, like that is not what God said, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I had her just look it over, so the flames of hell would not reach my toes when I hit print. So, um, anyway, she has a great sense of humor, but she stopped me, or she called me one day and she's like, "Now, I think there should be, some better scripture references in this book." And I said, "Mom, this book isn't for Christians. This book is for people that have been hurt by Christians. It's not for the person that went through seminary and can check all of my stories against the Bible and see if it's correct. My
Mm-hmm.
ministry is always going to be to the underdog, to the one left behind, to the oddball, the weirdo, the person that feels completely ostracized by the church. And I'm a pastor's kid. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
want any of that legalism crap in my life. And I don't want the judgment, except we're human and we judge all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Judgment is in our bodies. And it's good, part of it's good for us, right? It's good judgment to not walk onto a highway with a
Of
blindfold
course.
or whatever. That's a good visual, wasn't
Yeah, I'm there.
it? So, but it's just been, so it took probably a year to get it done, 6 months to a year.
Well, in one of your things it says, well, I know if I have fear, it is not the Lord. And some people will interpret that as, if they don't believe in God or they don't believe in religion, but they're a spiritual person, it is like, absolutely. If I'm in fear, nothing's going to get done. You're
Yeah,
paralyzed. You're stuck. Yeah.
yeah.
And so I underlined that one and I loved that one. Let me see what else I earmarked here. Cause the picture of the nun, I am totally photocopying that and sticking it on my wall because I just thought that was beautiful. Setting goals to do or not to do. And I liked how you had put forth the great questions to ask yourself as you set up your goals. And as I read through this, I was like, gosh, there's a new piece for me to work with because you don't know what you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And I always look at it like there are 7 billion people on the planet, and God's going to put people in and out of my life that He knows I need, whether I think so or not, but He's going to do it. And so setting
Sure.
the goals was just I picked up I just picked up a bunch of things from that particular chapter. What was the other one? Because the truth is, I miss you. Yeah, this is the one that got me. And you know what I've been through, and you and I have gone through a lot of stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
so I read this again this morning, right? Because I am learning to live without my sister, and I am learning to walk forward in what he wants for me and what
Yeah.
she and I talked about, right?
Right.
So I just sat here and I went, oh God, to feel lovely again. What is that gonna look like? I was like, okay, I can embrace that. And then the one that really got to me that I thought was um, take me down to Paradise City. I was like, and I started singing the song. I'm like, oh my God. I go, yes. And then I read it again. I was like, yes. Oh my gosh, yes. Standing in front of the entire audience. I want to do that one day. I don't know what it looks like, but I
Yeah.
want to be able to have that courage to stand out there and be able to tell something like this. You're like, and I'm not telling anybody because y'all have to read the book um, to get what everything that I was talking about just then. But that one was, I mean, see, tears rolling down the face. Um, and then the Martin Luther King stuff. So to read
Okay.
that, I have dealt with racism most of my life in
Mm-hmm.
that we lived in the deep South when I was a little girl and had some pretty horrific things happen. And
Right.
now I, belong to an all black church in North Carolina and live in California. And I brought them into the 21st. Like, y'all can stream. I'll get my butt up at 6 o'clock in the morning, but you got to figure out this streaming thing. It's the 21st century.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they're a tiny little church, but a lot of people don't understand his story, and they didn't understand that civil rights actually started in Greensboro, North Carolina, which is where I lived. And I always just figured, you know what, we're the human race. And that is what you captured. We're the human race.
Yeah.
Candy bar and all. We're the human race. And you captured it with not, and it wasn't just humor. I mean, I see you so dimensionally. I don't see you one dimensionally as just, Amanda's the funny girl in my world. No, I mean, you're smart, you're intelligent, you're articulate, you're vulnerable. I love your vulnerability because it has helped me to feel safe in stepping into my own vulnerability.
Right.
No joke, Amanda, reading your book, and I hope you do go back and read it. Reading it has given me faith that
Hmm.
I can continue to walk in the world after everything I just went through in the last 3 years. And I'm ready, with humor, because if I'm not
Yeah.
laughing, oh, the heck with it. I mean, what's it all about? I have to laugh, and we got to have humor. And there's just so many more things I took from your book, but those were just a couple of that really hit my heart. It all hit my heart. But this morning I was like, yep, those are the ones, the standing on stage in front of all these people. I was like, and then the walk of shame out of somebody's house and, yep, smelled up your bathroom. You're welcome.
Jesus loves you because that's why we're here. I was on a missions trip when I did that. Jesus loves
I
you.
was like,
And
how do you do that? I mean, how do you walk out of there just going, yeah, and Jesus loves you. Okay.
well, she didn't speak any English, so that was helpful. But I think she could read my mortification.
Or smell it.
Oh my gosh, that's a great one. And then
Yes.
my kid's dad, man, his sphincter doesn't work. Okay. So and what I mean by that he literally has
Yes.
he literally has 3 seconds to get to a toilet. And so
Oh.
I was married to him for 14 years, and man, we had friends that would be like, so what's the latest sphincter tale? And I do
Oh
want
my
to say
gosh.
it brought so much humor to our life. So like that's a really uncomfortable thing to have your body not functioning
Yeah.
well for you.
Yeah.
And then he had all sorts of gut problems and issues and tapeworms, and he would
Oh
totally,
my
I'm
God.
not, I know, he
No,
would
I
totally
know.
tell you this
Yeah.
story because the two of us together were insane comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but there's always a flip side, right? It's like, did we ever get real? Did we ever get vulnerable?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Oh.
that you have to have a balancing act of realness and laughter. You
Mm-hmm.
know, you can't just do Jim Carrey all day long. And that's why his stuff is so powerful when he comes down off of his, you know, that
Yeah,
personality. And
of
he comes
course.
down and goes, okay, now I have something deep to say. And everyone is
Mm-hmm.
like, what? And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I see humor. Same with Robin Williams. Same
Yes.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me, and I do know, like, there's deep pain in comedy. There's deep pain.
Mm-hmm.
And so even though we're choosing to see the lighter side of things does not mean we don't cry in a dark closet
Mm-hmm.
or cry on our huge pillow at night.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Oh, do
just
you mean the
like,
mascara marks that are all the way across the top of my sheet as I'm doing this at the, yeah. That even Clorox wouldn't even take out?
and some
Damn
snot,
mascara.
some
Oh, yeah.
snot
There's
rubbed
always
out.
snot involved.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
I am so appreciative, one, just to be able to put my legacy out there from another
Mm-hmm.
person's mouth. That is like gold to me, Brenda,
Mm-hmm.
and I want you to know that. And thank you
Mm-hmm.
for being in my life and fanning my flames, you know,
Absolutely.
to hold me capable of being the best I can be.
Yeah.
And that's who you
Well,
are to me.
thank you. And you are to me, I mean, to be able to watch somebody else's journey when you feel like you're sinking again, I call them my organ tribe, right? These beautiful women that came into my world last November will never, it's going to make me cry, but you guys will never know what those days meant to me, what I learned from it, and that I'm okay. I'm enough. And
Yeah.
when I read that throughout your whole book, I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough. I'm like, well, hell yeah, I am,
Yeah.
and all the songs that come along and hear me roar and, just all the metaphorish stuff. But in the quietness of my home, because I live by myself and going through a lot of transition and stuff, I have to find the joy again. I've
Yeah.
always been in joy my entire life. I don't know how I know it. I just know I have. I had a miracle thing happen when I was like 6 years old. I'm running across the field in Mississippi with a friend, and I cut my arm, and I still have the scar. And she literally, my best friend in the whole world, and I'm like, ah, and she grabs my arm. She goes, "You're okay." And somebody else grabbed my hand, and I couldn't see it, but I knew he was there. And it's like, "You're okay." And the
Mm-hmm.
bleeding stopped, and off we went. 6 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
I just knew, and I've always carried that with me throughout my whole life. I carried the scar with me my whole entire life because I know who I am. I've been through some doo-doo in life. We've all been through doo-doo in life. It's just how do you want
Mm-hmm.
to rise above the doo-doo, even the floating ones. And
Right. The floaters mean you're healthy, by the way.
I was going to look it up because I know Dr. Oz talked about everybody's poo one day on the TV. I was like, okay, I need to go look that shit up again. No, you are an exceptional writer. You have gifts beyond bounds. It is so much fun to watch you come out of the fire, right, and rise
Yeah.
above all of it. And I'm so excited to see what you do next. I really hope you keep writing your adventures and that you
Yeah.
keep writing books that the rest of us, in the world who don't write have some place to land and go, oh, so that's what it looks like, because we don't give ourselves permission to be happy. We don't give ourselves permission to, talk about diarrhea, out in the street with a neighbor. I mean, not to be
Right.
that graphic, but you know what I mean? I mean, we don't give ourselves permission to do those kind of things. And reading your book and then reading it again, because I just read it again with my sister-in-law here over the weekend. We've laughed the whole weekend because of your book. She's like,
Mm.
oh, she goes, so I go, it's okay, right? I mean, it's okay. Go have fun. Because at our age, we're all pushing 60, my age group. And I said, listen, if you didn't figure it out between birth and 50, you're not going to figure it out.
Right.
So from 50 on, I want to live to be 100. I'm waiting for the George Jetsons. Okay, I want one of them things up in the sky. Yep, I want one of
Mm-hmm.
those. And I don't care if I'm 100 years old driving it because I want one of those. I said, it's okay. I don't need to give you permission to have fun and be happy. You got to go find that. And I know it's in you because I've known you since you were 15 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
And I said, and no, you can't have my book. I said, but I will get you one and have it sent to you. And she's like, really? I'm like, hell yeah. So we laughed the whole weekend with your book. She was an unexpected visit. I didn't think that she was, coming. I mean, she said she would. So to give ourselves permission, and not just as women, right? But as men and women, I think one of the greatest takeaways in November was the piece I learned about men, and I was okay. And when you talked about, and then we got to go, but when you talked about the online dating thing, I did it once about a month ago. Now, women my age are sending me things, which we're not going to talk about here. I'm like, oh, they really do that? She goes, yeah. I go, I'm out. Okay. So I signed up for one of them. Oh, this is the dating site that'll match you. I haven't dated in 9 years, just, putting that out there.
She's single,
The email,
people.
yeah, I am single, people, but not till I get to the Carolinas. Wait till I get to the other side of the country, because I am moving from
Okay.
California. Yeah. But reading, going on to this dating site, now talk about wetting your pants. I mean, within 30 minutes, I had like 17 emails. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I don't need my phone pinging, like, no. And then I went,
No.
okay, well, I'm a little curious. What are they, and you go in and you're like, did you just say that out loud? Oh my God. Did
Yeah.
you just post that picture? No, you really don't look like that.
Yeah.
And then within 30 minutes, I'm calling my best friend Karen here, and I go, okay, so I'm out. You only been on a half. Nope, I'm half hour was enough. I'm good. God will place somebody in my path. Okay. Some of the pictures, I was like, listen, men, I don't need to see that out on, the dating website. And don't be sending
Yeah.
me your little, yeah. So with humor, I backed out, deleted the emails, and went, okay, got it. Okay, I got it. I got it. I'm not doing that. Yeah. So when I read that in your book, I was like, thank you, Jesus, because I'm not doing that. There are 7 billion people on the planet.
Yeah, I was out when Santa sent me a message. Because last I heard, he was married. So he
Oh
literally was
my
a
gosh.
mall Santa, and that was his photo.
Yeah, I saw that, and and the tacked on beard, and I was like, yep, yeah. But even people in life do that too. They'll tack on things onto self,
Yeah.
to make.
They're
They think that
masks.
that's making them, yeah, more presentable or whatever. And it's like, oh my God, just be real.
Yeah.
Because I'm like you, I only have a filter, and I use it for my coffee. The box I wrap my presents in, and the rest of it, y'all can just bend over and what you can do with it. Because if you can't
Mm-hmm.
come at me with humor and honesty, and my big word is integrity. And I read what you talked about, where John, when he asked you that question, so what are your goals? And then integrity has become one of my words. And am I standing in it?
Yeah.
Because for me, if I'm staying inside integrity, I'm not judging anybody in front of me. And if I'm not in integrity, this is just me. So if I'm not in integrity, then I must be doing something over here. And that something over there is distracting me from what I need right here. Because it's
Yep.
right here. Yeah. Yeah.
That's one of my favorite quotes, and it's mine, is
Yes.
if you are focusing on what other people are not doing, you are not doing what you're called to be doing. Like,
Yes.
it's
Agreed.
keeping you from, it's your excuse to not move forward. Well,
Right.
she did this to me, and she's doing this to me, and he did this to me. It's
Mhm,
so
mhm,
time
mhm.
consuming, and we allow
Yeah.
it because
Yeah.
we're scared to death to accomplish our goals.
Yeah.
So,
One last thing I'll say, I have my girlfriend Noni, and I love Noni. And Noni, she's just a beautiful soul. And one day we were just chatting, because she's been one of the ones who's held my hand through this whole thing. And I said to her one day, I go, yeah, so I think I'm at a point where, you know what, that person's just not getting any more of my minutes. And she goes, what? I go, she's just not getting any more of my minutes.
yeah.
And she goes, I am so grateful to be having these minutes with you. So
Yeah.
we laugh. And so she'll call, got a minute? I go, I have 3. Great,
Yes.
here we go. And so it's, where are you putting your minutes? And she
Yep.
says that to me all the time now. Where are you putting your minutes? And I am
That's
a
cool.
words person, but it's like, I don't like accountability. I can't stand that word. I just don't like it. I
Mm-hmm.
want to find a new word. And so with humor, right? With humor.
Yeah.
I'm always
Always.
laughing. In the job I'm doing now, when I come through, they're like, oh my God, are you always this happy? I went, uh-huh. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, seriously? I'm like, you bet. I go, what other choice do we have? I go, because look at that guy over there. I go, look at that face. I go, he is not a happy person. I go, but give me a
Yeah.
minute. And he goes, what are you going to do? I go, I'm going to go pull his pants down. And they're looking like, are you really? I'm like, no, you guys. I go, come on. But yeah, happy. I choose happy.
That's
I choose
awesome.
happy. Yeah, I choose happy.
Yeah, because none of us can skate through this being on this earth and not have loss. So
Yeah. Yeah.
either you get to choose to love a lot of people and be in a lot of people's lives on a deep level, you're going to have more loss, right? The rate is going to go up. The
Mm-hmm.
funerals are going to go up because you're putting
Yes.
yourself out there. Um, but the other piece is to be really small, and like you're afraid to even come out of your house, and eventually it's afraid to come out of your room. And that was my grandma, and I watched it, and it was
Mm-hmm.
so disturbing to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like she was an amazing artist, and now she just wants to get pictures off the internet to paint, when before she was painting the scenery from
Sure.
outside. So anyway, I know
It's
we've
a
probably
season.
got, it's probably like 45 minutes in, but thank you for everyone
You're
that's
welcome,
come on
honey.
and waved and given hearts. And it's so great to see when people come on. So definitely go watch it and replay it. Share
And
it with friends.
buy her book. Go get, you want to laugh, you want to understand life from a, a beautiful, hilarious, vulnerable perspective, get Amanda's book. And
Oh,
then
thanks.
share Amanda's book. And Amanda, read your book again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that you quoted things. I'm like, I don't remember saying that.
Oh, I could go
I
on.
don't know.
I have more earmarks, but we're good, with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great book. It's honest, it's raw, it's real, it's funny. I mean, it's fun. It's life. This is
Yeah.
life. I mean, and you captured it. You really captured life. And you hit from motherhood to daughterhood to being a wife, all of it, friendship and self. You really
Yeah.
came in for self. And I just respect that so much and
Oh,
appreciate it.
thanks.
Yeah, no, really appreciate it.
Um, Thanks for watching, guys, and have a beautiful day. And if I can ask you to do anything, is make life funny. Laughter is the best medicine, truly. So
Mhm.
love you guys, and thanks, Brenda, for coming
You're
on
welcome, honey.
and
All right,
for
guys.
giving me your minutes for the day. Love ya.
Absolutely. Love you too,
Bye.
sweetheart. Bye, guys.